a mad scramble. A scramble that is underway as we speak.
Yeah, it's music between my ears. On the Road Again, Willie Nelson, right? Go Your Own Way. Yeah. That's a breakup song. Changes by David Bowie, and it's got the song Don't Want to Be a Richer Man. Oh, wait, that last part is definitely not in play Friday. Ooh. Money Talks, can you hear what it's saying? The Kings tap 23-year-old Darren Fox as their point guard of the future. Agree to assign him to a max extension for at least $163 million over 5 seasons. Richest contract in franchise history, beating the old one by Chris Webber. How about the league's reigning 6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell? 2-year deal, Lakers, $19 million. Harrell ranked 2nd in the NBA and scoring off the bench at 18 plus per game. The Thunder agree in principle to trade Steven Adams, Lord Adams, to the Pelicans. Oklahoma City will get back a future first-rounder and second-round picks, adding to their thousands of picks. And Danilo Gallinari cashed in with the Hawks, agreeing to a 3-year, $61.5 million deal. He should help an Atlanta team that shot just 33% from 3 last season. That mark was the worst in the NBA. How'd the day begin? Well, it began with Dwight Howard talking to Laker Nation. I'm staying right where I belong. Laker Nation, I love y'all. Purple and gold never gets old. Well, something happened between then and now, because that's how it started, and this is how it's going. Howard to Philadelphia.
And we got just the man to talk to sort it all out. So Dwight Howard leaving L.A. as we welcome in Adrian Wojnarowski. Adrian, Wesley Matthews and Montrezl Harrell on the way to the Lakers as they totally retool that roster with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. What's going on with the Lakers?
Well, with Dwight Howard headed to Philadelphia, they moved quickly, reached that agreement with Montrezl Harrell, and now Anthony Davis will decide sometime after Thanksgiving, I'm told, the structure of the new deal he'll do with the Lakers, and he's got a few options in terms of length, and one option is to do a 2+1 deal, essentially a 3-year deal with an option to exit that after 2 years. That would align him contractually with his teammate LeBron James.
So Laker fans shouldn't have any worries about Davis not being re-signed at this point.
He'll be there Christmas Day, and whoever the Lakers are, that big Christmas Day game, AD and LeBron will be there together.
All right, what about Gordon Hayward? Opted out of his contract in Boston, but now he may be staying or maybe moving on. What's happening there?
Well, he still has the option to re-sign with the Celtics. He could do a longer deal. He had $34 million owed to him this season that he opted out of. But among the scenarios are to do a new deal in Boston. There have been sign and trade conversations with his agent, Mark Bartelstein, and a number of teams where Boston would get back some players or picks for Gordon Hayward, and he would be able to do a longer-term contract with those teams, and then he can sign in the salary cap space. There's still a couple teams left who have space who could sign him and who have interest. One of those, the New York Knicks.
And now this Drew Holiday deal involving the Pelicans and the Bucks is now expanding. It's becoming the never-ending trade, and Steven Adams is involved now. What's happening there?
Yeah, it is a big, unwieldy trade, but the broad strokes of it are Steven Adams leaves Oklahoma City. He'll go to New Orleans, play for Stan Van Gundy, and really, solidify the front line of that really talented, athletic young team that still has J.J. Redick among their veterans, and brought on a couple, Eric Bledsoe in the deal with the Bucks for Drew Holiday. So he goes to New Orleans now, and he's a player I'm told that they'd like to keep beyond this year. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and you see Oklahoma City now. They have completely gone into a full rebuild. They've traded away Chris Paul. Danilo Gallinari left as a free agent. We reported earlier tonight, goes to Atlanta, 3 years, $61 million. And Oklahoma City, they get a first-round pick as part of this deal, and 2 second-round picks for Steven Adams, who really had a wonderful career with the Thunder, a very popular player, probably one of the most popular players in Thunder's short history in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it's getting to the point sometime in the next couple of years, Adam Silver's going to walk to the podium, and the Thunder is just going to have the whole lottery with all the picks that they have. They'll have to make one trip. Meanwhile, with all the talk of James Harden going to Brooklyn, Sean Marks, the GM for the Nets, said his biggest priority was re-signing Joe Harris, and they got that done. Why was he so important to Brooklyn?
Yeah, there've been no real James Harden talks with Houston, and Sean Marks was focused here in this free agency to get Joe Harris signed. There was a lot of interest around the league. 4 years, $75 million for Joe Harris, who's going to get a lot more open shots playing with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant this season. This was an important player for Sean Marks to re-sign, a player that, they essentially took his career had really hit a hard place when he came to Brooklyn and resurrected his career there. Now 4 years, $75 million for Joe Harris. And the Nets are a team now that, you start to see what that opening night roster is going to look like, and Joe Harris will be in it.
All right. Glad we got you signed to a long-term deal, Woj. We appreciate the information.
Thanks, Stan.
Yeah, that was our best deal.
Absolutely.
Rob Pelinka and the Lakers, making a conscious effort to balance their top-heavy roster from last season, acquire 2 bench scorers in the NBA in Schroeder and Harrell. They also improved the three-point shooting with Matthews on a team that ranked 21st in three-point percentage last season. Our front office insider is Bobby Marks.
Rarely does a team that just won an NBA championship completely turn over their roster, but that's what the Los Angeles Lakers has done. First, they went out and acquired Dennis Schroeder for Danny Green. Then they signed Wesley Matthews to the $3.6 million biannual exception. Montrezl Harrell to the Sixth Man of the Year to the mid-level exception. Of course, Anthony Davis will be back on a long-term contract. And LeBron James returns. But what's next for the Lakers here? They have 6 roster spots available. They still have bird rights on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, meaning that they can exceed the cap to bring him back. They have the veteran minimum exception to fill out their roster. And they're still $14 million below the tax, meaning they can bring back KCP, use some of their exceptions, and still be under the luxury tax.
King James version when I'm on the way. So say hello to the champ. Let's go!
We just want our respect. Our organization want their respect. Laker Nation want their respect. And I want my damn respect too.
They say hello to the champ.
All right, how cool is this? Vince Carter joins us. We're going to start at the top of the Lakers, Vince, because they're the champs. Montrezl Harrell.
Let's do it.
He goes from the Clippers to the Lakers. Basically takes Dwight Howard's spot on the ledger. Howard goes to the 76ers. How does Harrell make the Lakers better, or does he?
He fills the void. Let's start there. I mean, his offensive ability, he can score a little bit, but defensively, he brings energy. He brings effort. He's a dog. It's tough to turn down a team that has LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the supporting cast that they have in the culture that the Lakers carry. So, can you blame them?
All right, your former team, or I should say your last former team, gives Gallinari 3 years, $60+ million. Where's he fit on that club, given your knowledge of that roster?
I tell you what, he's a knockdown shooter. He's a guy you cannot leave open. I think he's going to take a lot of pressure off of Trey, because teams were starting to double team him in Trey, that is in the middle of the floor, inside pick and roll. So now you swing to a guy like that. He's knocking down shots. Plus, I foresee them trying to sign one more guy. And if they do, I mean, they legitimately have a chance to make the playoffs.
All right, you played 22 seasons, so you spun the wheel of free agency fortune many times. What's it like? I mean, what's it really like?
Well, let me tell you, as a superstar player, as a go-to guy, as a franchise player, it's a little easier than it is as a reserve player. Like when you're in kind of the shoes of an Anthony Davis right now, it's like I'm losing sleep over what? I know I'm gonna get a max contract. I know I'll probably end up in LA with a max deal. So what problems does he have? But as a reserve player, it's you're hoping your phone rings. And I was fortunate enough late in my 40s that I was still receiving some phone calls and was able to finish out my career and walk away.
Well, you were fortunate enough because you were good enough. All right, James.
Thank you.
Free agency, not the only thing making noise in the NBA. James Harden.
Yes.
Once out of Houston, where's he going to be next season, or where do you want to see him be as an NBA guy?
I mean, it's kind of a drama series, because he wants out, Houston's not going to just let him go or for anything. So I think early in the season, as of right now, he'll end up in Houston playing, and I'm sure he'll be disgruntled and not want to be there. I actually think I'd like to see him in Philadelphia. Imagine James Harden in a pick and roll situation with an Embiid, with a Dwight Howard, with the lob threat, kind of like the Capella James Harden we knew and loved years ago, which is going to open up, and they continue to have shooters. They have a lot of quality players and a great coach in Doc Rivers. I think that can work very well.
Hey, Vince, what color is that shirt you're wearing?
It's a little Carolina blue.